It's 7 a.m. You're standing in your kitchen, holding a small orange bottle in one hand and a glass of water in the other. You've done this every single morning for the past 8 months, and you've stopped even thinking about it. Swallow. Rinse. Move on with your day, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet, uncomfortable thought keeps returning. Is this it? Is this just my life now? A pill. Every morning. For the rest of my life. You're not lazy. You're not weak-willed. You're not undisciplined. You've cut the fries. You've skipped the butter. You've read the labels in the grocery store like they were exam papers, standing in the aisle longer than you'd like to admit. And still, your last blood test came back with that same number circled in red, and the doctor's voice in your head just says, "We'll keep an eye on it." A phrase that somehow manages to sound both reassuring and quietly terrifying at exactly the same time, like a countdown nobody wants to admit is quietly running in the background. Here's the part nobody tells you. In parts of Japan, places like Nagano, where people routinely live some of the longest, healthiest lives anywhere on Earth, cholesterol problems are strikingly rare, not because they have better genetics, not because they have better doctors, not because they take stronger pills or more of them. It's because of 6 small, almost invisible habits, repeated quietly, every single day, without anyone even thinking of them as health habits at all. They don't call it a diet. They don't call it a health plan. They don't call it a routine. It's simply how the day is built, quietly, without anyone ever calling it a plan. I'm not going to tell you to starve yourself. I'm not going to sell you a supplement. I'm going to walk you through exactly what these habits are, why they work on your body at a biological level, and how you can start the first one tonight, before you even go to sleep. Stay with me until the end, because habit number 6 is the one your doctor probably never mentioned. It's not a food. It's not a supplement. And yet, without it, the other 5 habits barely move the needle at all. And it's the one that makes all the others actually work. Habit number 1. 1 soup, 3 dishes. An outside observer watching a Japanese household prepare dinner notices something strange almost immediately. Nobody is counting calories, and yet nobody is overeating. The plate is small. The bowl of miso soup sits beside it. Then 3 modest dishes, something grilled, something pickled, something simmered. No towering portions. No single dish dominating the plate. No second helpings piled on out of habit rather than hunger. Everything on the table is small enough that finishing it doesn't mean overdoing it. Inside the mind of someone raised on this pattern, there's no internal battle at mealtime, no willpower being spent, no negotiation with a craving. The structure itself does the work. Compare that to the quiet exhaustion of counting macros, weighing chicken breasts, and still going to bed hungry and irritable, wondering why discipline never seems to be enough. Over a year, someone eating this way consumes far less saturated fat and far more fiber and plant variety without ever dieting, while someone stuck in a 1 large dish pattern keeps circling the same 3 heavy meals. And their arteries keep paying the toll slowly and visibly, 1 dinner at a time. The mechanism is simple. Diverse small dishes naturally limit saturated fat volume while soluble fiber from vegetables and soy binds to bile acids in the gut, forcing the liver to pull LDL cholesterol out of the bloodstream to make more. It's not a trick, and it isn't magic either. It's basic chemistry, repeated quietly at every single meal, 3 times a day, without fail. Starting tonight, don't overhaul your whole kitchen. Just take your dinner plate and split it into 3 smaller portions instead of 1 large, 1 protein, a vegetable, and a super broth. That's the entire instruction. Nothing to buy. Nothing to track. No app to open before you're allowed to sit down and eat. But there is something even more fundamental than portion structure. Habit number 2. Eat until you are 80% full. Watch someone practicing hara hachi ba, and you'll notice they put their chopsticks down while there's still food on the plate. It looks almost rude to Western eyes, leaving food behind on purpose, walking away from a plate that isn't empty. Internally, this creates a strange tug of war the first few times you try it. Your brain says, finish the plate, don't waste it, while your body is quietly signaling that it's already had enough. Most people override the body and obey the plate every single time without ever noticing they're doing it, meal after meal for years. The habit is learning to trust the body instead of the plate. Over a year, someone practicing this consistently eats meaningfully less total fat and cholesterol without ever feeling like they're restricting, because they stop eating at the point of satisfaction instead of the point of fullness. Someone who eats until they're stuffed, meal after meal, keeps flooding their bloodstream with more triglycerides and LDL than their liver can clear in time, night after night, without ever connecting the dots between the plate and the blood test. The mechanism: it takes roughly 20 minutes for satiety signals from the stomach to reach the brain. Stopping at 80% full means you naturally avoid the overshoot, the extra bites your stomach didn't need, but your eyes convinced you to take anyway. Tonight, try this. Eat slower, put your utensils down between bites, and stop the moment you feel comfortable, not full. That's the entire shift, and it costs you nothing but attention. No calorie app, no scale, just a slightly earlier, quieter stop. But portions and pacing only get you halfway there. The next habit is about what fills the gaps between meals. Habit number 3, the daily green tea ritual. An outsider visiting a Japanese office or home notices the ritual immediately. Tea is brewed constantly, sipped slowly, offered to guests as a matter of course. It isn't a health supplement, sold in a bottle with a health claim printed on the label, promising something dramatic. It's simply what you drink, all day, without thinking twice about it, the same way you'd reach for water without giving it a second thought. For someone new to the habit, there's a small internal resistance at first. Coffee feels stronger, more rewarding, more awake. Green tea feels almost too gentle to matter, too quiet to be doing anything at all. But that gentleness, repeated 3 or 4 times a day, quietly adds up over weeks and months. Over a year, someone who replaces even 1 or 2 sugary or high-fat drinks a day with green tea sees a measurable shift in their lipid panel, while someone who keeps reaching for the same drinks keeps feeding the same numbers that worry them every time they see the results. The mechanism: catechins in green tea, particularly EGCG, appear to reduce the intestinal absorption of cholesterol and support the liver's ability to process LDL. It's not dramatic, and no single cup will move your numbers on its own. It's cumulative, cup after cup, day after day, week after week. Your instruction for today: swap 1 drink, just 1, for a cup of green tea. Not all of them, just 1, starting with whichever one is easiest to give up first. The rest of your routine can stay exactly as it already is. But there is something even more fundamental than what you drink. It's what you're not eating anymore. Habit number 4, natto and the fermented soy habit. Watch a Japanese breakfast table and you'll often see a small container of sticky, stringy fermented soybeans, natto, eaten almost like a chore, quickly out of habit sometimes with visible reluctance on a child's face at the table, the way some children eat their vegetables somewhere else in the world. Internally, most people outside Japan recoil at the smell and texture on first contact, and that reaction is completely normal. The psychological conflict here isn't discipline, it's disgust tolerance. The people who push past that discomfort a few times often find the habit becomes automatic, even craved within a few weeks. Over a year, regular fermented soy consumption is associated with meaningfully better lipid profiles, while diets built around processed fried protein sources keep pushing LDL upward, meal after meal, without the person ever connecting the two. The mechanism: natto contains nattokinase, an enzyme studied for its role in supporting healthy blood flow, alongside plant sterols that compete with cholesterol for absorption in the gut, quietly lowering how much your body takes in. If natto isn't available where you live, the instruction adapts. Add any fermented soy product, miso tempeh edamame, a few times a week instead of processed meat, and let the small swap do its quiet work in the background of your week. But even the right foods can't outwork the next habit, because this one isn't about the kitchen at all. Habit number 5, walking as transportation, not exercise. An outside observer in Tokyo or Kyoto notices something almost nobody talks about. People walk constantly, not as a workout, but simply to get anywhere. To the station, to the store, up the stairs instead of the elevator, because the elevator is slower anyway, and nobody thinks twice about it. For most people used to driving everywhere, there's a real internal resistance to this. Walking feels like lost time, an inconvenience, something to avoid when a car is sitting right there in the driveway. Reframing walking as part of getting somewhere, rather than a workout to schedule, is the entire psychological shift required here. No gym membership, no special shoes, no calendar block needed. Over a year, someone who accumulates even 30 extra minutes of walking daily in small pieces throughout the day sees improvements in HDL, the good cholesterol that helps clear LDL from the bloodstream, while someone who is sedentary outside of a single gym session a week doesn't get the same benefit, even if their diet is identical to the letter. The mechanism, regular low-intensity movement, activates lipoprotein lipase, an enzyme that helps clear fat from the blood and raises HDL over time, something a single hour at the gym followed by 9 hours of sitting at a desk simply doesn't replicate, no matter how hard that 1 hour is. Today's instruction: pick one short car trip or elevator ride and replace it with walking. Just one today, and let it quietly become 2 tomorrow, then 3 the day after that, until walking simply becomes the default. And now, the habit that almost nobody talks about, the one that makes the other 5 actually work. Habit number 6, deep, unhurried sleep and recovery. Here's what almost no one mentions when they talk about Japanese health habits: the emphasis on winding down, a hot bath before bed, dim lights, no screens an hour before sleep, and a fixed sleep window, most nights of the week, weekends included. Internally, this is often the hardest habit of all, because it fights against a culture of productivity at all costs. The belief that sleep is time you could be using for something else, something more useful, something more impressive. The psychological conflict is guilt. Resting feels like falling behind everyone else, like everyone else is still working, still hustling, while you've quietly given up for the night. Over a year, someone who protects 7 to 8 hours of consistent quality sleep shows measurably better cholesterol regulation than someone eating the exact same diet on 5 or 6 hours of fragmented sleep, because sleep deprivation itself raises LDL and lowers HDL independent of anything you eat or avoid eating. The mechanism: your liver does much of its cholesterol regulation and repair work during deep sleep. Chronic sleep disruption raises cortisol, which in turn raises LDL production, meaning you could be doing everything else right on this list: the meals, the tea, the walking, the natto, and still lose ground here quietly, night after night, without ever knowing why. Tonight's instruction: no screens at all for the final 30 minutes before bed, and one consistent bedtime, even on weekends, even when it's tempting to stay up later just because nothing is stopping you. So here's why habit 6 is the one that quietly makes the other 5 possible. You can eat the perfect 3-dish meal, sip your green tea, walk everywhere, and eat your natto. But if your body never gets the deep repair window it needs, your liver never fully processes what you've given it all day. Sleep was never just the 6th habit sitting quietly at the end of the list. It's the foundation the other 5 were standing on the entire time, whether you realized it or not. None of these 6 habits taken completely on their own will change your blood test overnight. But together, repeated quietly daily, without drama, without a single pill, they add up to something that no orange bottle was ever designed to do. They change the environment your body operates in, meal by meal, step by step, night by night, until one day, the number on that test simply looks different, without you ever feeling like you were fighting for it. Cholesterol is not a moral failing, and it never was. It is not a lack of willpower. It is not something money or genetics protect you from, and it was never going to be solved by a single orange bottle alone. It is something built quietly, one small decision at a time, most of which nobody around you will ever notice you making quietly day after day until the results finally speak for themselves. So here's my question for you, before you close this video. Of these 6 habits, which one have you already lost somewhere along the way? And which one will you reclaim first, starting tonight, before you even go to sleep? If this helped you see your mornings a little differently, let me know in the comments which of these 6 habits you're starting with tonight and which one surprised you the most. And if you want the next video where we go deeper into exactly how Japanese kitchens structure an entire week of meals like this, from grocery list to leftovers, subscribe. I'll see you there.